options in our single vision stock, and it's good to use some of those. But what do we need to do with the fitting of an aspheric that's different?
Oh, so you're asking us?
Yep. And there is something on your dispensing checklist. It says
Drop
something
3
about
millimetres.
drop 3 millimetres. The technical answer is you drop 1 millimetre for every 3 degrees of panto, depending on which supplier's guide you read. Okay, so do we know about pantoscopic tilt yet? Probably don't. Pantoscopic tilt is for a person's face shape. That's a lot of panto, as in the angle, rather than basically if we draw a line through the person's face, go how does their frame fit compared to that? That's probably 30 degrees of panto. Like that sort of 10 degrees of reverse panto. That's probably about, I guess, 8 to 10 degrees of, so it's just tipping forward at the top of pantoscopic tilt. And all the glasses you fit with progressive you should be trying to aim to get people to have that little bit of 8 to 10 degrees of pantoscopic tilt. So the top of the lens is just out from the bottom. And that's so that people, when they go to look down through the reading section, aren't looking obliquely through the lens on a funny angle, which in itself induces distortion. The reading might be as clear as, and they go and do that and suddenly it gets clearer.
Oh, I did have a tiny bit on. I just said pantoscopic tilt, the angle of the glasses will sit on.
Yeah,
That's what I
sit
had.
on the face. So again,
Yeah.
that's reverse panto. You never want to do that. Bronwyn, you've got your glasses there. You can do that and then see, have a look at your reading there, and now do the opposite. Now make it so that it sits. It's about the same.
That one's alright, but yeah. This
You
one.
do it the other way.
Yeah.
That's
No.
awful.
That's shocking.
So you never want someone fitted with glasses with the reverse panto, because they're going to look down and they're going to go, gee, it just doesn't look as good as I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
You want to have that little bit of gentle panto. And the lenses are designed for that feature involved. But some of our customised lenses, when we're on the Visio office and all the rest of it, they actually take measurements of the pantoscopic tilt so that we can say, oh, we'll customise the design because this person's ears are really low, and no matter what we fit, they're always going to be slightly, only maybe just flat to very slight panto. Versus someone who, whatever we fit, because they've got really high ears, and even if we adjust them a bit, they're always going to have slightly more panto than average. We adjust them, they actually adjust the lens design to try and counteract that as well in the progressive. So that's some of the clever technology in the progressive, that they can make different aspheric curves individualised for that person's head tilt and the frame size and all the rest of it. Okay. So aspheric, so what are some of the things? Okay, so we drop 3 millimetres.
Is it in that you're talking height when you do the
Yeah,
pupil to the
so
lens?
pupil centre.
To the bottom of the rim of the
Yeah.
glass?
Yeah, it's pupil centre to bottom rim,
Base rim, yeah.
and it's on the just on the edge of the inside of the rim.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I used to sort of say, almost imagine where the groove was in the frame.
And it's to the
So the inside of the groove
lines.
on the inside of the
Yeah.
frame, which is only about a 0.5 millimetre difference from what you're measuring, so we just say inside of the bottom of the rim, okay? The rim. And so it's pupil centre at the bottom of the rim, and then we drop at 3. Can
And that's-
anyone say why we might drop at 3? Because I said so is close, but the reason for that is because the aspheric is designed for you to be looking close. If you start looking off centre of the lens where it starts to flatten, it will be blurry. It's actually clearer, so as the light comes to you and goes through the centre of that aspheric design, it's good. As the light comes from an angle, or your eye is looking at an angle through the lens, or you turn without turning your head, then the
back out.
the aspheric is there designed to actually make it there less blurring than an spherical lens. In other words, it will be a little bit clearer than normal if you just did that in a normal lens, because of that looking obliquely. It's designed to counter for the fact that you're looking through the lens at an angle. However, if the centre of the lenses are there and you are looking directly through, as in it's not going through on the angle, but it's going directly through, straight on through that peripheral bit where it started to blend the curves, it will be blurry. Does that make sense? The lens is designed that you will be viewing it on an angle through the side bits. If it ends up that you're looking straight ahead through the side bits, it will be blurry. So can you tell me why then, so why wouldn't we fit it on, so one option would be to fit the lens on pupil centre so that we're always looking through the centres. Why wouldn't we perhaps do that? Why would we suggest dropping it a couple of millimetres?
I guess it gives you a wider range.
A wider range because of what do we do more? Do we spend more time looking above our eye line or below our eye line?
Would it be below?
Below, because what are you about to do when you write it down in your notes?
Like look down.
You're going to look down.
Yeah.
So more reading, even walking, we're looking at our feet and walking
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
We're not doing a lot of
I would never
Bird
look
bird
down,
watching
looking
and
up really.
stars.
Mhm.
So we're making sure for the visual areas that there's no chance of when they read through the lower part of the lens or looking down a little bit, that they're not actually ending up looking through that blurry zone.
Mhm.
We're working through the centre. So that's basically why we drop it a couple of mils. Now some people say drop it 2, some people say drop it 3, some of the manufacturers say for every bit that the frame is angled, for every 2 millimetres of panto, you should drop it by 1 millimetre. Some say drop it every 2.5 millimetres. On average is about, for most frames that are got, if they're fitted close to 8 to 10 millimetres of panto, you know, if you average that out, that's going to be about 3 millimetres. Sometimes on a bigger panto it might be 4, and sometimes, but 3 is going to cover it pretty well, because just remember you're going to get
Yeah, they come down.
1 mil or 2 mils of slippage on different
Yeah.
times of things, so that's going to be pretty covered. So hence we took, and to keep it simple, we've kept it as 3, because that's the same sort of thing that we would drop it for an extended focus.
Yeah.
So if you have to remember pupil centre for everything else, drop it by 3 for aspheric and an extended focus, you can't go too far wrong.
Mhm.
Okay, that makes sense?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the aspheric really does come down to the fact that the lens form is not got a standard, I suppose it's not spherical, means it's like that, just chopped off a bit off the lens and the curve would still be the same.
Mhm.
Okay, doesn't matter whether you chopped it off this curve or that curve or that curve radius would be exactly the same. Aspheric basically, if you like, means that this bit probably got one curve and this bit here on the outer bit's got a different curve. And generally it's not, it just doesn't change, it's actually gradually flattening. So if you like, there was heaps of circles of curvature changing in the peripheral part. Okay. So it sounds a bit funny, but it's just, it doesn't just, because otherwise if it just went from one curve to the other like that, there'd actually be a little ridge or a little distortion in the lens. So they actually do it gradually, and they do it with formulas and clever things involved, and the ones that have got the double aspherics and all the rest of it. And obviously once they move into progressives, they're doing it not only to manage the side vision and the distance, but they're also doing it to try and manage the graduation down into the reading as well.
Mhm.
And it obviously gets really highly technical,
Clever. Mm.
but that's what aspheric is about. So there are 2 features for aspheric that we need to remember. One is easier to remember, it makes the lens flatter and thinner. And by making it flatter and thinner, it may also be lighter. Flatter, thinner,
Less blur and distortion.
enhanced peripheral vision. And again, more significant the higher the prescription. Okay? Enhanced peripheral vision. So flatter, thinner, lighter, enhanced bit, plus enhanced visual vision.
Unless
And that's harder to describe, the enhanced visual print. What it does, it means when you look to the eye and your eye's looking through the lens at a bit of a funny angle, the lens has been compensated so that you won't get as much distortion as you would in a standard lens. It's not to say no distortion, but less distortion.
Mhm.
More wider visual areas, all the rest of it. However, it's got to be fitted correctly. So aspheric, you occasionally get problems for people who don't like aspheric lenses because they've always worn spherical. Their brains got very adapted to their funny peripheral vision, and you go and change it and make it better, but better is different. And different sometimes means that people go, oh, I don't like different. Not all of us adapt to change well. And particularly, if their old glasses are broken and they had to put it on, it was a bit weird for a few days, but they got over it, that's great. But if they've got a pair and they're just swapping between the two, and one pair's got it, one pair doesn't, some people will be a bit, oh, it's a bit funny. Same with changing progressive design, they're going from one design to another, might even be a better design. Occasionally they'll feel a bit worse with it at first, particularly if they're swapping back to their old sunnies all the time, and they've got the other type of strength in them. So you can get those little funny things. But as a general rule, most people will do better with that. But we tend to, I would say as a profession, we do underutilise the advantages of using aspheric lenses. So I would say aspheric lenses are very good.
Mitch, do you have a small 40 card to it?
Sure.
Who?
I'm missing one. Thanks. Thanks.
All right. So thanks, Doc. That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. So aspheric is really good for particularly, and it's really good for fatter, thinner, lighter, particularly in plus lenses. Does it in minus as well, but particularly in plus makes it fatter and thinner, but it does the enhanced peripheral vision in both. So it's a great feature. All right.
Yep.
Lots of information there. I don't know that I've covered everything I wanted to cover, but I think I've covered. But at the end of this, again, I'll come back to it. One of the things we'll keep going over and over and over, and we'll all need to do with this is correct frame fitting.
Yeah.
So I might just pause that there.